Hi, it's Cindy from the Osterville Library, and today we're very excited to have with us Jacqueline. She's the Executive Director of NAMI on Cape Cod. And some of you might be asking, what is NAMI of Cape Cod and why am I interviewing her? But we feel it's more important now than ever that you become aware of what Jackie does and the services available. So Jackie, first I'd like to welcome you and ask you to tell us what is NAMI of Cape Cod?
Well, first of all, thank you so much, Cindy, for this opportunity. I think it's extremely important, particularly at this time, to get the word out of what the services are that are available. NAMI is a national organization. We are an affiliate. There is a state organization. We are the Cape and Islands affiliate. The services of NAMI, essentially, I call it a three-legged stool. It's education, support, and advocacy for those with mental health issues and for their families. And the thing that's a little bit different about NAMI that I think gives us a particular niche is the fact that we are not clinicians per se. We are people with lived experience. We've all had friends and relatives that have had serious mental health issues. And we fill that niche that the doctor or the therapist doesn't have time to fill. The doctor or therapist usually works strictly with the person that has the mental health issue. They don't have a lot of time to hold hands of the family that's in shock because they don't know how to handle this or how to deal with this person. So in that sense, we can be very, very supportive. We do have educational courses. We have a lot of support groups, and we advocate for mental health through the government and by working with other organizations. Um,
Hmm.
I think that this is particularly important right now.
Yes, I agree. What are, I noticed on your website, you have a lot of information and there's booklets and there's an 8-part series and thing. Could you explain what resources people could get just by going to your website?
Well, just by going to our website, first of all, we do a monthly newsletter that is chock full of information as well as a lot of resources. And each of those newsletters is archived on the website. So that's one thing. We also are doing, as you mentioned, Cindy, this 8-part COVID survival kit series, which is done in conjunction with a practicing psychiatrist who is on our board of directors. Dr. James McGuire. He's been behind it. And it's based on the work of Dr. Bruce Perry, who's internationally known and work in Texas. He's the Trauma Institute in Texas. And he works very closely with Dr. Stuart Ablam at Massachusetts General Hospital, whom we have had down here several times and who has worked with the school systems on the Cape under our umbrella. So that COVID series is on the website. And also we have a library here, a lending library, and that is also listed on the website. So just by going to our website, you can certainly get a lot of basic information.
Hmm. That's great. And that actually makes a good segue into like, what as you perceive with COVID, the mental health tsunami that's going to be coming?
In talking with different people in the field, like educators, the police department, other social service workers, doctors. I think everyone is pretty much in agreement that once we get back to normal, if there is such a thing, and we're hoping maybe by next Christmas we will be, and hopefully I'd love to see my family again. I haven't seen everybody since last Christmas in 2019, but we're thinking that this is not going to just go away. There are going to be long-term repercussions from the from 2020 and into what we're going through in 2021. 2020 was a year that nobody in this country or the world probably was really prepared for. We weren't prepared for a pandemic as a country. We weren't prepared for it in having a public health system that could operate. And then in addition to that, regardless of how you stand politically, we went through an extremely unusual and difficult time politically. So an awful lot was happening that was causing a lot of stress, anxiety. Of course, people lost jobs, children were out of school. So all of those things aren't just that trauma and stress is not going to just go away. Um, we're talking a lot. I read a big article, Governor Baker this morning in the Globe was saying he wants the elementary kids back in school by April 1st, full time. And a lot of them are back in school. But all of those kids, this has upset their lives.
Mm.
I'm particularly concerned about teenagers and young adolescents, the college age kids, the high school kids, because they are just coming into learning about what their life is about and trying to be independent, going away to college. All of this has been totally upended for them. And in addition to that, they're so young, they have not built up the resilience that some of us who are older have built up, and we're struggling too. So I can't imagine how it is for kids that age that are still so unsure of themselves and are stressed out about college and jobs and all of those things. So I see, and everyone seems to agree, the common wisdom says we're going to be a nation in PTSD.
Wow, that's very some sobering information there. I know last year watching, the kids not have their graduation or their proms or so many of those life events that you cherish or hate or whatever.
But you remember,
That you definitely remember, hopefully. But yeah, it is interesting. And are there like some? I know this isn't like an in-depth thing, but are there like some easy signs that maybe parents could look for in their kids?
I think that looking for depression, because stress and anxiety do lead to depression. You can take so much stress. And I think all teenagers are under stress because, especially kids that are getting ready to apply to colleges and all of that. I experienced that. I have a granddaughter who is a senior this year at Falmouth Academy and has gone through all the college applications with no interviews. SATs were canceled, I don't know how many times, so on and so forth. So there's a stress level there. But I think that stress and anxiety, stress turns into real anxiety, and that can lead to depression. And that's what you really need to watch for. And signs of depression are basically pulling away from the world, isolating oneself, feeling very sad, not being, giving up, not say, the attitude, well, it doesn't matter anymore, those kinds of things.
Mm.
That change from somebody that might have been social to being kind of non social to being a good student to kind of checking out and saying, it's not working. It doesn't matter anymore. I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm not going to be able to do that. That type of stuff, just watching. And it's hard
Well,
because,
yeah,
kids can be secretive too.
yeah, and because probably the parents could be going through the same thing.
They are.
So,
And it's very hard. I just can't imagine being the parent that has, say, kids of two or three ages and trying to school them at home. As we know, most parents who are still lucky enough to have jobs. And what about, the mother or father that's trying to work from home, has an elementary school kid, maybe even has a younger child, then has a tweenager or a teenager or a college student that's come home. We're doing a whole thing with college students. We have a college student that's working kind of on an internship with us, and she's doing a lot of interviews with kids that she knows from college, and how this past year they have been Zooming classes. Some of them have had to come home, and she's done these interviews that are very, very honest. Everything from seeing their parents' marriage fall apart to having to adapt as seniors of living back at home. The idea of trying to do Zoom classes, which don't have the interaction, especially in the upper grades, upper levels. So yeah, I
yeah.
mean,
Mm. So what should somebody do if they think they might need help or just want to bounce it and just see maybe, to kind of get a hold of you? What could they do? Or how
well,
about it.
we're not an emergency line. We're a warm line. We're here 9 to 5. Everybody in the office is capable of answering what we call support calls. That's part of our mission, part of our job. Um, we have a lot of experience now. We've been doing this for about 4 years, the whole support line. So if you call us, we can certainly help you. Just sometimes we find when people call, I don't feel like I've helped them that much, but just talking to them and validating your feelings and saying, no, you are not crazy. You are not out of line here. This is real. And these are some of the things that you could possibly do. We do have several support groups if people are into being in a support group. And of course, in some ways, telemed or tele whatever is a double-edged sword. It's hard to relate to somebody sometimes or a group if you haven't met the people in person. So that piece is missing. There's a screen between you and the people you're working with. But on the other hand, it gives you more accessibility because you don't have to be able to drive somewhere to go to a support group. And you can meet more different people. We have people from all over the state, and in our Brazilian support group, we actually have people from Brazil, as well as Framingham and Lowell and other places around the state, because we're the only ones running that kind of a support group.
Is there anything else you'd like our viewers today to know about NAMI? I know this is just a short thing, but
Yeah.
any tips on anything that could be helpful?
Well, one thing I'd like to say is that everything we do is free. All our courses, everything we do is free. So insurance is not an issue with us. There are none of those things. We are confidential. We do try to help everybody that calls. We have people from very, very wealthy people to people that have somebody on the street that call us, and we try very hard to place people and to help. We have a large resource list and good relationships. We'll do everything we can to help anybody that calls us.
So what is your website and what is your phone number before we?
Oh gosh, well, our phone number is 508-778-4277. And our website is
It's NAMI.
www.namicapecod.org.
Okay. Well, that's great. And I appreciate so much your time today. And we'll probably do an interview down the line because I think this is such an important issue. But thank you so much for joining us today.
Again, thank you for the opportunity.